Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome to Goal Line Hockey Live. It's Kevin Forte, and we are back for another live stream. Today, we are going to be doing a little bit of a watch party as the Minnesota Wild and the Florida Panthers are matching up tonight. So, both of these teams playing in their first games of the regular season. If you guys have not already, make sure to like the stream. That's really going to help us out in the algorithm and to get more views. I have a lot to talk about today because if you guys don't follow our community tab, we've gotten into a little bit of controversy, and I want to talk about at least what I know and what I can speculate on what has happened. Um, but to put it lightly, the NHL is not happy with me, and I'll leave it at that for now. Um, I did get a copyright strike from the NHL about the live stream the other day. They took my Vegas Golden Knights, Seattle Kraken live stream down. So moving forward, I am going to probably change the format a little bit from what we did the other day. So hopefully things will go a little bit better moving forward, and we don't get any problems with the NHL. Because obviously, I don't want that. Um, I'm trying to grow the game by getting more attention with the channel, with all my videos over 4 years. And it would really be a shame if my channel got taken down because of something like this. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But anyway, so far, the Minnesota Wild, the Florida Panthers, a lot of you guys here on the channel are big supporters of both of these teams. So I expect this to be a pretty heated third period between the Wild and the Panthers. Both of these teams, the expectations of both of these teams have been high. They're both expected to be good teams this season. Minnesota has a 2-0 lead currently in the second period. Goals from Joel Eriksson and Brock Faber. So that's really good to see for the Minnesota Wild. Of course, Joel Eriksson one of the leaders up front. And Brock Faber is going to be a really good hockey player. So I'm really interested to see how Brock Faber kind of continues to develop. But this is a guy that can score goals. And I think the Minnesota Wild are really going to like what they have in him. Around the league, in terms of games going on, we have a couple games that started at 7 o'clock Eastern. The Rangers and the Sabres up in New York, up in Buffalo, New York, to be exact. The battle for New York. The Rangers with a 4-1 lead. A really good game for the Rangers. A lot of things to like. Obviously, Alexis Lafreniere getting on the board right away. That's huge for not only Lafreniere, but for the Rangers. So that's huge for them. We saw Chris Kreider. He has his first and second goals of the season in this one. Artemi Panarin with the shaved head. He's also got a goal tonight. And for the Buffalo Sabres, JJ Peterka with the lone goal for the Sabres. Over in Columbus, a Metropolitan Division matchup. We've got the Blue Jackets and the Flyers, two teams that are expected to be at the bottom of the Metro, fighting it out right now in Columbus. Joel Farabee, Philly Joel, with the first goal of the season for the Flyers. Jake Bean getting on the board there for the Blue Jackets. And Travis Konechny, that's going to be huge for the Flyers this season. They are going to need a healthy Travis Konechny, and he gets a big goal here early. Columbus is on the power play, 4 minutes left in that one. Over in Newark, the New Jersey Devils hosting the Detroit Red Wings, a 2-1 lead for the Devils in this one. 2 goals already from Jack Hughes. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. But Daniel Sprong getting a goal for the Detroit Red Wings. That's a really interesting storyline going into this season because Daniel Sprong is the type of player that we saw what he did last year for Seattle. He played really well for the Seattle Kraken. He tore it up in the preseason here for the Red Wings, and he scores on opening night. That is exactly what the Detroit Red Wings needed out of him, and he has more than delivered. Heading to the Western Conference, the Blues and the Stars, a Central Division matchup. Jamie Benn and Tyson Tucker with Ty Tucker with the goals in that one. Of course, our game we already talked about. The Nashville Predators have a 1-0 lead over the Kraken, goal by Colton Sissons. And then, of course, tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the Vegas Golden Knights taking their first road trip of the season, heading out to sunny California to take on their crosstown rival, San Jose Sharks. All right, so what do you guys want to talk about so far in this one between the Minnesota Wild and the Florida Panthers? Thank you for joining us here, guys. A couple of you already liking the video. Huge shout out to you guys. That's awesome. Really, really, really appreciate that a ton. Shout out to you guys. What else are you guys saying? Florida can't skate with the Wild. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a problem. And shout out to Zach. Shout out to Urban. You guys here in the chat. You guys are awesome. So apparently from Urban, he's saying that the Florida Panthers cannot skate. And that's going to be a problem if you cannot skate with the Minnesota Wild. This is a little bit of a different. Oh, so there you go. So there's the goal. Caught it just in time. I think that was Rossi. So Marco Rossi makes it 3-0 Minnesota. Can't really blame Bobrovsky on that one. That's just a defensive breakdown there. Yeah, that can't happen for the Florida Panthers. And I know they've got a ton of injuries, and that's going to be a problem for them. And we talked about this in the preseason with Florida. The philosophy that I always talk about, you can't win seasons in October and November, but you can definitely lose them. And the meaning of that is there is a much bigger issue if your team is not doing well those first 2 months compared to if your team is doing well. Because if your team peaks in October and November, and by the time February, March, and April hit, you're done, it doesn't really matter. So, and obviously it's more important if you're down because now you have to come back. Now there could be injuries as the season goes along. You have to make up ground on teams, and it's kind of out of your control. So that's why those first 2-3 months of the season are huge. And Florida, again, they had a really long season last year. They started this season off on the wrong foot. They went on a really long playoff run. They haven't had a lot of rest. You're asking for a lot from this Florida Panthers team, but they're hoping with the good goaltending there with Bobrovsky, Alex Lyon, and Spencer Knight, who's currently in the American Hockey League, there will be a little bit of maybe hope for this team. So let's see. So a couple of games finishing up. It's those metropolitan New York, Philadelphia, Columbus games. Those are the games we're looking at that are kind of finishing up. From what you guys have been kind of saying, I mean, the Rangers and the Sabres are definitely hitting a lot, which is good. A lot of physicality. I'm sure there's a ton of Ranger fans up there. They travel well on the road, especially in the in the Northeast. Maybe other than Boston, I would say the Ranger fans travel really well. So let's see. So it's 2-1 Philadelphia. I'm trying to watch this game while we're waiting for the Minnesota game. Okay, so it is back. So they took the goal off. So it was a goal by Marco Rossi taken off the board. So it remains 2-0 Minnesota. Glad to see Marcus Johansson back there because I think he's been a really good player there in Minnesota. He was really good in Washington. I'm happy he's no longer with the Capitals, selfishly. As an Islanders fan, I'm happy he's no longer there because he's a tough player to play against. I don't think as much now, but he can play center, good penalty killer, scores key goals in key moments. He's a good hockey player. I think somebody that a lot of people forget about because usually he's on a pretty good team. He was with Seattle for a little bit. So they're throwing a beach ball around in Minnesota. That's pretty funny. There he is, the legend himself. What's going on, Don? Good evening to you as well. Nice to see you in the chat. So the Flyers end up scoring again. So another one of the OGs for the Flyers this season. Konechny gets on the board. Joel Farabee gets on the board, and Cam Atkinson makes it 3-1 Philadelphia on the road in Columbus in CBJ. That's a big one. Thanks for calling me a legend. Of course, Don. Year after year, you're always in the chat. One of the first supporters of this channel, so I never forget you guys. Don't worry about that. So Buffalo has decided to pull the goalie. It's 4-1 Rangers with 2 minutes left, and Buffalo's deciding that they are going to pull the goalie. That's an interesting, bold move there. Oh, maybe not. It says that he's out of the net, but from the live that I'm watching, he's still on. Now, Buffalo is kind of set because now they picked up Rasmus Dahlin and they signed Owen Power. So the Buffalo Sabres are pretty much locked in at this point. I mean, they're hoping, I'm sure, for the goalies to work out. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Devin Levi, and then you're looking for those guys up front to kind of step up. So Buffalo still doesn't have what it takes. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to say that, Urban. You know, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think Buffalo, we're going to see how good this team is in the spring. And we talked about this at the end of last season. We watched a lot of Buffalo games. And the thing that stuck out with Buffalo is this is a key point in the game. Are they going to be able to convert, or are they going to be able to like kill that penalty or hold frame and not let the game get away from them? That happened too much last year. And I think you're not going to see that in the first 2 or 3 months of the season this year. You're going to have to wait a little bit to see where things go for the Buffalo Sabres because it's still too early. There's not enough pressure on these guys as the season goes along. As they start maybe going on a 4 or 5 game losing streak, those are the times we're really going to see where Buffalo is. And, you know, I'm not going to call it's going to take a lot for me to say Buffalo doesn't have it this year. Let's just put it that way. They're a team in that division that looks incredibly vulnerable, which I don't think I really expected to say. Maybe other than Toronto, that division is open. You know, I don't know where Tampa and Florida are going to fall in all of this. Boston has looked vulnerable. They looked good the other night against Chicago, but, you know, that's a different team without Bergeron and Krejci there. So I think for the Sabres this year, it's going to be important to give that mentality of we need to fight every game. And that's what they're doing here. Even if they lose this game, sending the message, we are playing the full 60 minutes. We are going to make the Rangers work for this game. And I think that's the mentality that they're kind of looking for here. So we'll see if they can do that. So I guess the Rangers did end up scoring. It says 5-1 here. So I'm waiting to see who popped it in. So Jacob Trouba. So there you go. Jacob Trouba with a goal. I haven't seen it yet, but Jacob Trouba. Columbus ended up making this game interesting. Patrick Laine scored to make it 3-2. So I do not that might be the final now, but so with 44 seconds left, Laine scored, but I think it was too little too late. So Philadelphia scored again. All right. So there was a bunch of goals to finish out that Philly Columbus game. Yeah, these streams are really delayed. Urban, did you see Edmonton get boat raced by Vancouver last night? 4 goals Besser. Yeah, so I missed all the fun in that game. I watched the opening ceremony and I watched the first goal. I saw the first goal by Garland, and that was it. I missed the Besser goals and I missed the Edmonton goals. But that place was jumping last night. They were ready to go in Vancouver. I also saw they brought back all the Canucks former captains when they officially announced and gave the captain jersey to Quinn Hughes, which I thought was a really nice touch. And with a little bit of the media scum, the little bit of a skirmish last week with Quinn Hughes saying that he's really not happy in Vancouver if they're going to keep losing. And I think he's kind of putting pressure on himself and his teammates this year. But again, in a place like Vancouver, that echo is pretty loud. So that's something that definitely I think the Canucks, they want to win. And when you have Elias Pettersson on his current contract situation, that means a lot. Vancouver, this is a huge season for them. If they want to continue to build what they already have, they need to get Elias Pettersson signed. So there you go. So the Blue Jackets ended up winning 3-2. I guess they took the goal. Oh, they did. It says 4-2. I don't know what happened. I think the app might have messed up too. I don't know what happened there, but so what other games do you guys want to watch while we're waiting for the Minnesota-Florida game in the second period? Because right now they're about to go into the second intermission. So Panthers power play. Minnesota has only 15 shots, but they have 2 goals. So that's not a great look there not a good look at the Panthers goaltending. But again, that third goal, it's kind of hard to blame Sergei Bobrovsky for that. So New Jersey and Detroit is on. And I think, Urban, I'm going to end up watching that one. Because I think that's actually going to be a pretty good game. Oh, Detroit. Oh, so they're so DeBrincat gets his first goal with the Red Wings. So we are tied at 2 in the third period between the Red Wings and Devils. I'll be watching that at the end of the second period here. As our game of the night is the Minnesota Wild and the Florida Panthers. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, like the stream, and you guys are awesome. The other night, we put up some really good numbers. Connor Bedard's NHL debut, we were able to get 600 views on that live stream. 600. That was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Thank you guys so much for that. That was awesome. Other than the copyright strikes and the copyright claims and all of that, it was pretty good nonetheless. So I have to thank you guys for that. Yeah, Urban, yeah, copyright sucks. My thing with the copyright situation is like I get it. They don't want people like pirating the games, and I understand that. But I'm not doing any of that. The problem I have with it is I've been doing this for like Urban, you've been around a long time. I've been live streaming games for how long? It had to have been the way I had everything set up. That had to have been the issue because I've been doing this forever and never had a problem. So it was definitely odd what happened with that whole situation. The only thing that bothers me is the fact that a big part of the reason I have the channel is because I want to grow the sport of hockey. Nobody talks about hockey. There's not enough coverage of hockey anywhere. It's like the Super Bowl when they're on Pat McAfee. That's not enough. We need more hockey content. And if the NHL is not going to do it, well, somebody out there is going to do it. And it seems like they're kind of gatekeeping that opportunity. So I don't know. I think it's a missed opportunity. And again, you talk about the major sports. The NHL is maybe maybe third or fourth. You could argue between MLS, soccer, and the NHL behind baseball, hockey, and the NFL. I mean, baseball, yeah, baseball, basketball, and football. And you could even argue college football. I would say college football is even more than the NHL at this point. Some of those NIL deals those kids are getting, quite impressive. And I think the NHL is just going to continue to fall to the wayside if they don't cover the game more. But I don't know. I guess that's my opinion, and who cares? But whatever. Yeah, I agree with you, Urban. NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, and then maybe NHL. Yeah, and like I said, and even I would throw MLS soccer into that as well, which is ludicrous that the NHL is that far down the totem pole, but they've done it to themselves and they have no one else to blame for that. I will admit some of the things I said the other day. I like that with ESPN, they're starting to bring back the player commercials, which I think is so nice. I think that's a really something that people have been wanting forever, right? Is the player advertising, the player ads and commercials. Commercials are terrible to begin with and suck, but at least if you're going to give me good commercials that are at least a little funny or at least a little bit creative, I will gladly take that. What's going on, Luis? Welcome to the chat. Welcome, Surreal. Thank you guys for joining us here on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday night here on Long Island. A lot of hockey tonight, a lot of hockey last night as well. I am so mad I was not able to stream that Habs Leafs game. It was 5-3 Montreal. They pull the goalie. They get, I believe it was the tying goal to make it 5-5. Austin Matthews got a hat trick, and then they end up winning the game in a shootout. Incredible game. Really tough loss, though, for Montreal. Montreal needed that game, especially with the way they lost. Like, they were in control of that game for a little bit. They had a 2-0 lead at one point. Arbor Jackeye throwing Ryan Reeves into the net. Like that was a good tone setter by the Habs. And for a young team, they showed a lot of poise in the beginning of this game. But the better team, in my opinion, obviously won the game. But give credit to Montreal, man. They made the Leafs earn every bit of that win last night. Another good game in Carolina. It was 3-2. Actually, I believe I want to say it was 3-1 Hurricanes in the third period. Travis Hamonic throws the puck over the net, delay a game, or over the boards, delay a game penalty. And you're thinking, all right, so now Carolina's going to cook them. And then next thing you know, shorthanded goal. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Parker Kelly. Parker Kelly with the goal to make it 3-2. And then as the penalty expired, Tim Stützle coming off the side. That's one that I'm sure Freddie Anderson would want back. They tie the game at 3, and then Carolina just dominates and finds a way to win the hockey game. And that's the kind of stuff that Carolina's going to need to do. They're going to face adversity like that. But I have to give credit where it's due to Ottawa. They could have just laid up and said, all right, we're done. 3-1. We're going to try and kill this penalty and just survive. That's not what they did. They went out there and actually thrived. And there's a lot to be said about what they did last night. A couple of these young teams, same thing for the Blackhawks, man. Some of those defensemen look really good. Kevin Korchinski and Wyatt Kaiser, really impressive so far for the Blackhawks. And like I said, there is reason for optimism right now up there in Chicago. There's going to be a long season, but even the way they played against Boston last night, pretty good. Going to be 4-0 Wild. So you guys, I love this. You guys with a little bit of banter. That's great. The Florida Panthers are the hottest team in the league. We'll see. You guys are hysterical in the chat. What's going on, Wayne Train? Thanks, guys, for joining. I appreciate that. All right, so 5:30 to go. Devils power play, and it is 2-2. So the Red Wings tied it up. Again, another team that probably should have folded against the Devils, right? It's 2-1. We're not going to beat these guys. They're better than us. Not the case. The Devils come in, right? They were the only team, I think, I want to say it was 2012, the only team since 2012 to go undefeated during the preseason. And a lot of those teams that go undefeated in the preseason, it doesn't really carry over into the NHL. But it's still a there by the Devils. They're letting the NHL know, like the Devils are on watch this season. And unlike the last couple years where teams have kind of gone in there, go up to Newark for the weekend, go maybe, visit the city the night before, the night after, and then get their 2 points. No, not the case anymore. This is a legit Devils team that is they're gonna kick your ass if you're not prepared. And I think that we're gonna start to see the position of this team from a team that can just get into the playoffs and make a little bit of noise like they did last year. A lot of people have them maybe even winning the Eastern Conference as Eastern Conference champs, going to the Cup final. Like that is how high people are on the Devils. Rightfully so. But again, we need to see another good season here because there's going to be critics that say, hey, they had one good season. Can they do it again? And that's really what this is going to come down to, which I think they will. I mean, as long as Heishier can stay healthy, that defense looks really good. Dougie Hamilton, Kevin Ball, John Marino, a bunch of those guys. It just seems like they're working together. They're playing well. Lindy Ruff gets a lot of criticism, even from me. That European style of coaching usually doesn't transition well to North America on the bigger ice, but he seems to be making it work. And we've seen coaches like Ralph Kruger, who was in, I want to believe, Edmonton. The last time Lindy Ruff was in the NHL was with Buffalo and Marcus. I think it was up. There you go. Devil's goal. Dougie Hamilton. And there you go. So it's 3-2 Devils at the Rock. 4:23 to go. That's a big one there. And we were just talking about that Devils blue line. There you go. Dougie Hamilton. Face off tie up. Red Wings can't get the puck out. Great play. Dougie Hamilton just shoots it on net. Ville Husso, not sure what he was doing there. Not in position. There were 3 Red Wings in front of him screening him, which I'm sure didn't help. He's got a great mask, though. I'll give Ville Husso that. Look at Dougie Hamilton asking for the crowd. There you go. That's awesome. All right, so the Devils, there you go. They got the lead back. Now let's see how Detroit responds. I wonder if they're going to pull the goalie early. Are they going to be aggressive, or are they going to wait till the 2-minute mark? Yo, we have a super chat from Ange, $2. Thank you so much. It's from Dustin. They could probably hear him breathing. He's breathing so loud. Are you breathing loud? You're breathing a little bit loud, and his nose is really dry again. Just watch Rangers. They block every shot and pay the refs for power plays. Oh, no. Good thing there's no Ranger fans in here, Dad. They would love that. And the Devils knocking on the door. Let's see. Nope, no good. So they haven't pulled the goalie yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little aggressive here. The the way the Devils are playing right now, the way they're playing right now and the way they played in the preseason are going to be a little different because remember, they had a lot of young AHL guys on the roster in the preseason. So that's not going to be the team we were going to see tonight. And that's the thing people seem to forget. Like, usually the teams that win the preseason the way the Devils did is because they have a ton of depth throughout their roster. So when you have the nights where you have your AHL roster going to play another team's roster, like they did against the Islanders, the Devils HL roster went to play the Islanders home roster at UBS, like their starting night roster, and beat them. If that doesn't tell you anything about the coaching and the buy-in from everybody in Newark, I don't know what will. And maybe you guys will say the Islanders just aren't that good. And that could also very well be the case. But that's going to be something to watch for. So Jeff Petrie takes a penalty in his first game with the Red Wings. And the Devils, this looks like a good game here for the Devils. I think they're going to find a way to pull through. This is going to be tough for Ville Husso and the Red Wings. That's a tough team to beat. And now you give them a power play like that late in the game. Not looking too good. So for some reason, I can't get the Wild Panthers game. I'm not sure why. What? I'm not sure why the game isn't. It's not refreshing. I'm not sure what happened. They're showing game highlights of the Wild. So Urban, what ended up happening with that? Was it offside? I wasn't able to see the replay, and I'm kind of interested. I'd like to see the actual play. Um, I don't know what happened there. Also, guys, if you guys are interested, I'll be doing my next power rankings on Sunday. There's definitely going to be some changes. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? So here we go, Blue Jackets fans. All 3.5 of you. This is crazy. So apparently Zach Werenski is hurt. It's not expected to be long term, but Zach Werenski, game 1, already hurt. Unbelievable. I hope he's okay and he comes back because they need him. It's ridiculous how many times he's gotten hurt. It's frustrating. So we weren't able to watch Connor Bedard's first NHL goal, but he did get that the other night. Connor Bedard didn't get it in his first NHL game, but he did get it in his second game, in his second night, the second of a back-to-back. And, they weren't able to get it done in Pittsburgh, but they went down to Buffalo. They went down to Boston, and they didn't get the win, but Connor Bedard got his first NHL goal. And we talked about that the other night, how important that was going to be just to get that monkey off his back. So there you go. Connor Bedard, officially a member of the NHL club with goals. So one of very many, I'm sure, in his hopefully nice and long career. So shout out there to Connor Bedard. in his second NHL game. Congratulations on your first NHL goal. So yeah, so the status is Werenski out, but is not expected to be a long-term injury. So they're hoping soon. I mean, this is just crazy though. This should not be happening. Urban said Oilers jump off a cliff. It's one game. I can't get too annoyed. I can't. I think Vancouver. If you saw that opening ceremony like I did last night, like I would have ran through a brick wall for that team after watching that. Like that opening was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Um, by the by the Vancouver Canucks. I'm looking at Josh Allen wearing a Sabres jersey. Yuck. Josh Allen. Um, and tonight, the Bruins are proud to honor Patrice Bergeron as a member of the club's All Centennial team. So there you go. Congratulations there to Bergeron. It's weird not seeing him with the Bruins. That's going to take a while for an adjustment. No cups for the Oilers or Leafs while they have these overpaid players. Yeah, there's that saying out there. The only team that's gotten to the Stanley Cup final with a guy making over $10 million is Carey Price in 2021. Carey Price with the Montreal Canadiens. That is the only player making over $10 million to get to the Stanley Cup final. So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. Eichel last year. Thank you, Urban. That's right. And Jack Eichel last year. So with all these big contracts that have been given out, and Urban, they were 14 million over the cap. Yes. But technically that is, so making $10 million. There's only two players to ever get to the Stanley Cup final making over $10 million, and one of them has won a Stanley Cup. Now, I think as the game changes and the way guys make money changes, I think we're going to start to see this happen more often. And I think that's kind of why teams are giving out those contracts. But at this point, that still stands as something that people are going to say. Until we see more guys winning the cup, making that money, that's going to be out there. Because it does. It's expensive. When you have players like McDavid making the money they do and everybody else, there's only so much you can really do with that. It's very hard to build a good depth roster to a guy making 14, 15 million dollars a season. That just there's only so much you could do with that. Barkov and Eriksson Ek. I love it. All right. So Urban, mine is definitely behind. Your event is currently at intermission. Oh no. Okay. ESPN's kind of glitching out. I don't know what's going on there, but I think nope, they didn't fix it. Uh Urban said, I love this Matthews quote when he signed the new deal. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win here. Yeah, right. We'll see about that. Yeah, we will see about that. I don't know. I don't know how confident I'd be in that. Oh, no. I want to see Oilers. I'm going to look at Oilers Twitter after last night's game. How many of them wanted to jump off a cliff, like Urban said? But hey, it's good for the Oilers fans? Those Heritage Classic jerseys are very nice. That makes you feel any better. But yeah, all kidding aside, I mean, they got freaking destroyed. Come on, I want to And 8-1. Let's go Oilers. Let's see this. So Mr. Rogers putting on a clown mask. What else do we got here? Bunch of memes. The Iowa Hawkeyes can't even score 8 sometimes. Yikes. So this is interesting. Somebody said, so many issues with this club. We were literally just talking about this with the Oilers. So many issues with this club. After your big two, you have absolutely nothing. Your D is garbage, and your goaltending is even worse. It blows my mind that management believes this is a good hockey club. What did we just talk about? Once you have guys making that kind of money, and let me mind you, Draisaitl's next deal after McDavid's, Draisaitl has a new deal coming up. Where is the money going to be for the Oilers to re-sign these guys? This is going to be an interesting storyline to watch. Do we have a Zamboni driver? Oh, man. That hashtag may not be the best one to use right now. And the reason they say that, because the Oilers hashtag is Let's Go Oilers. So whenever they put out a tweet, they have to use Let's Go Oilers. Well, when you're getting pumped, your face pumped in by the Canucks, 8-1, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are already saying probably don't want Let's Go Oilers to be using that tag. Season is already over for the Oilers. Hang up the skates. McDavid, go back to your house in Edmonton. Draisaitl, go back to Cologne, Germany. Season's over. It's over. Might as well call it a season. They've lost one game. This is cup or bust. They lost game one. They are in a defeated season, 0-1. It's over. Just give up the other 81 games of the season. It's over. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, guys. Come on, Edmonton. But to be honest with you, I expect nothing less from the Oilers fans. And that's not necessarily a diss, because if you ask any team out there, in their first game, they were losing 8-1 in their season opener, I'm sure they would be just as upset. So the irrationality doesn't just reside in Edmonton. It doesn't just reside in Alberta. Hell, it doesn't even just reside in Canada. It is a fandom issue where you watch one game, your team gets pumped, season's over. That does not work like that at all. The 2 points that they lost last night are going to be the same 2 points in game 82. I can almost assure you, game 80, game 75 are going to mean way more in terms of going into the playoffs for the Oilers than this one. Urban, Minnesota is playing their game. If they could just do this in the playoffs, they would go deep, but no. So this is an interesting thing, Urban. And let's talk about the Minnesota Wild, because we're watching them play right now. And what my thoughts are on Minnesota is fairly similar to the New York Islanders. Hear me out. Hear me out. Of course, I have to bring this back to the Islanders. The way both of these teams play is we're going to get a lead on you. We're not going to pump you like Vancouver, but we're going to score 2-3 goals, and our goaltending and defense are going to shut things down. And we're going to forecheck hard. We're going to pressure you in your own end and force you to make mistakes. And it's a very patient, fairly slow game. And I don't know I think Uyghur just ran into Bobrovsky. I don't know what happened there. The way Minnesota plays is not sustainable once you get to the playoffs, because you've grinded it out for 82 game schedule. By the time you get to the playoffs, you're burnt out. The team scores 2 or 3 goals on you, that's where you run into an issue. And you don't have the type of offense that you can just score a couple goals to come back and tie or maybe win a game. And that's what I think is kind of the issue with the Wild. I think there is the lack of like true game breakers on that team right now. Of course, you have Kaprizov, but once they shut down Kaprizov, that was about it. Nobody else really stepped up. So once they have guys stepping up and things start to go in the right direction there, other than Kaprizov, Minnesota is going to be a good team. Like I said, Joel Erickson, his emergence is going to continue. Brock Faber, as those guys get into the league, as they're playing a little bit more, gaining confidence, gaining experience, that's where Minnesota is going to be a better playoff team. And last year it was just, I think the expectations were too high for the Wild. I think that was playing with house money, just the fact that they made the playoffs. So I don't know. I don't know. I think the expectations for the Wild fans are different. But from outside Minnesota, the way I looked at last season is from maybe what it could be even this season is a team that's coming out of those buyouts. Because remember, they have those huge buyout penalties on Suter and Parise. That's really affecting their ability and money this year and next year. So it's one of those things where you have to temper expectations despite what you think the team should be at. But I think Urban already knows that. I'm not telling Urban anything he doesn't know. I think it's more for the other Minnesota Wild fans maybe out there. Kaprizov, Ek, Boldy, Rossi, Zuki. That's interesting. Zuccarello, Faber. And then there's Maroon. I love addition. And that's a really good point, too. I think bringing in Pat Maroon is sort of that replacement to Ryan Reeves. He's that calming presence in the room. He's going to be serious when he needs to be. He's going to goof off when he needs to. And he's also protect those guys at the end of the day. And that's something that really that's not something you could teach somebody. Listen, you be more like this guy. You do this and this and this. It doesn't work that way. You either have it or you don't. And I think with them also re-signing recently guys like Ryan Hartman and Marcus Foligno, you have Marcus Foligno, Ryan Hartman, and a guy like Pat Maroon. All three of those guys are a pain in the ass to play against. And I think that's something from the last of this team that once they lost those guys, they didn't bring it back. Like they had Jason. I know that some fans might get upset about this and even bringing it up. But when they had guys like Jason Pominville, Chris Stewart, Charlie Coyle, once they lost some of those players, they lost a little bit of that grit and sandpaper that made the identity of those Minnesota Wild teams that were on playoff runs. So, yeah, Maroon will actually protect them. Reeves so many times wasn't on the ice to protect them. Yeah, and that's the thing too because they weren't playing him in the top 6 to be on the ice when those guys got hit. And yeah, that's true. I think Maroon will be a little bit better there. Absolutely. So this is from Cap Friendly. This is kind of interesting. Oh, there's a little bit of a little fight. I don't know what happened. So did Minnesota score? I think I missed it. Maybe not. So with the Buffalo Sabres signing Owen Power the other day, the Buffalo Sabres have 2 of the top 15 highest cap hits for defensemen in 2024 and 2025. Rasmus Dahlin comes in at tied for the second highest paid defenseman alongside Drew Doughty. At $11 million per season. And Owen Power is making just short of Mikhail Sergachev and Miro Heiskanen, making $8.35 million per season. So on the back end, moving forward for the Buffalo Sabres, they have just shy of $20 million locked up between Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin. That is crazy. That is crazy for guys that have not even played a playoff game yet. What do you guys think of that? Let me know what you think of the Sabres doing that because that is crazy. $19.35 million combined for the next 7 years for Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power. Yeah, Urban, they gave him 8 already. Wow, Buffalo is screwed. Yeah. I don't know if they're screwed. I think they're good players, but that is a lot of money and guys that have never really proven to you much. Never played a game in the postseason. And there he is. What's going on, PJ? Thank you for joining us on a beautiful Thursday night. What's going on, PJ? He just woke up from his nap and he finally decided to join us. We're about to close the shop. I'm probably going to go for another 10 minutes because we're at 50 minutes now. So we're going to go for the hour, up to the hour mark. PJ said, I went to the Flames opener last night. It was dope to see them win, I'm sure. How was it though? How is the Saddle Dome holding up? Did they have like employees under the Saddle Dome kind of like holding the stadium up so it wouldn't crumble apart? Let me know. So Minnesota's just grinding this game out. It is still 2-0 Wild over the Panthers. The Panthers just can't get on the board. Really good game though. All things considered for the Wild. They've only gotten 18 shots, but the way Don Granado's teams play, like this is what they do. They don't score. They don't need to score a ton of goals, get a ton of shots. They just need enough to win. Wow, PJ throwing flames out there. It got some renovations. Either way, the new arena will be better than the Wild arena. That's tough, PJ. That's a tough one because XL Energy Center is one of the nicest buildings in the league. That is a really state-of-the-art arena. Yeah, and it is an old arena, but the XL Energy Center, I remember like that was a pretty big deal building when it opened. Oh my god. So there's Ranger fans selling a Chris Kreider hat. If Kreider scores tonight, we will give away this hat. Let's do it. Of course, Kreider scores 2 goals, and the hat is Kreider Man instead of Spider-Man. That is cringe as hell. I'm sorry. Um, quick shout out here to Blue Shirts Nation, but Kreider Man, that's the best you could come up with. Yikes. Yikes. That's all I have to say to that. But that's what I would expect from the Rangers fans. I would expect nothing less. PJ said, I love the Wild Arena too, but hockey stops there after April since the Wild can't make it past the first round. I would agree with you on that, PJ, but they also have the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They have high school hockey. They have some really good high school hockey up there. Minnesota Duluth. The only reason I always bring up the Gophers first is because they play in the Big Ten. So the Big Ten always comes up first when I think of Minnesota hockey. But PJ thinks the Rangers are overrated. Urban agrees to that. I honestly, the more I've kind of seen the Rangers, I am a little bit like they played well tonight, right? 2 goals from Kreider, a goal from Lafreniere, a goal from Panarin. What more could you ask for? I I don't know. I don't know how Laviolette's gonna gel with this team. I think the same problems Laviolette had in Washington, he's gonna have with the Rangers. It's a bunch of veterans that, and don't take this the wrong way. I think there's a lot of veterans there with the Rangers that are just gonna say, F off, dude. Like, we've been playing our hockey the way we play. Don't tell us what to do. I just don't know if his message is gonna resonate. I don't know if the message is gonna resonate the way that it might with a younger team that's maybe like trying to find themselves. The Rangers aren't trying to find themselves. I think this is a team that knows the guys know who they are and what they're about. I think it's just a matter of just executing. And I don't know. I think the angle Laviolette's going with this could backfire. They should have hired Spencer Carberry. I agree, PJ. I think Washington did really well with that. Now again, here's my Hershey Bear bias coming in, but he was really good with the Hershey Bears for a while. Then he ends up becoming an assistant with the Maple Leafs. We know the Maple Leafs are a pretty good team. He was a part of some really good teams there. Yeah, I agree, PJ. Yo, PJ on the freaking back on that one. Urban, is that right? So Urban mentioned he said hockey is so good in mini. They have changed the college bracket so there can't be three Minnesota teams in the Frozen Four again. Oh, that's hysterical. So I guess what did they say? So St. Cloud, Minnesota, St. Cloud State, Minnesota Golden Gophers, and Minnesota Duluth. I assume that's what those are the three teams. There's a pretty good skirt. There's like fighting going on in this Minnesota game. This is great. Mikola, who else is in there? Is that Hartman, Brodeen, Erickson Eck, Verhage, former Bridgeport Sound Tiger? I remember watching Carter Verhage. Brock Faber getting in there. Oh, I love it. Get the young guys in there. There we go. Show these old dogs some new tricks. Attaboy, Brock Faber. So it looks like there's a couple penalties going each way, couple roughing penalties. Kevin Stenlund, I think, went in the box. Ooh, that was a cheap shot. Oh, I hope Johansson's okay. Marcus Johansson took a good licking right there for no reason. That's a bad penalty. I'm sorry. I'm not sure who actually did that. Is that Balinskis? Who the heck is Balinskis? I have no idea who that is. And Mikola, I think. My friend. Yep, he's getting his comment pinned. Kev would be a great sports commentator. You just have the Riz with me, PJ. We were talking about that the other day. PJ's got the Riz with me. God damn, man. Oh, this is ridiculous. I like Don Cherry, but Don Cherry. So this is a tweet from Don Cherry. He said, "I did a poll asking who would have more points in the season opener, McDavid or Elias Pettersson. Over 80% picked McDavid, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Some said, what a dumb question. Connor got 1 point and Elias got four. Who will get more points on Saturday?" Okay. I know what this. So Don Cherry's just trying to stir it up, and you know what? I respect the shit out of the hustle there from Don Cherry. That's funny. Because obviously McDavid is the better player, but that's not what the question is. And people get so freaked out about this stuff, especially Oilers fans. And so I actually kind of fell into it myself. But know what? That's the grift. Don Cherry, love him or hate him, you got to respect that, man. That is him stirring up the Caps and Oilers fans, specifically the Oilers fans. That is great. That is a great little thing there. Oilers fans are the most delusional, absolutely boat raced. You guys are funny. I'm so happy the Oilers got smoked. My only wish was that game was in Edmonton. And then, of course, after this, during the day today, I saw a couple of videos online of of course, some Oilers fans pouring beer on each other, Canucks fans pouring beer on Oilers fans pouring beer on Canucks fans. Guys, this is my public address announcement, my PA announcement to you guys. Guys, we got to stop this with the fans fighting with each other and stuff. It's so freaking stupid. Please, if you can't control your liquor, don't be drinking going to a hockey game, especially when you know that you're going to be playing a rival that's probably going to be taking up at least 30% of the stadium. Guys, what are we doing? Please tell me. Yes, I did see that, PJ. Thatcher Demko puked in his mask. Fun fact. Yes, I did see that. Yeah, and he still played. I believe he had the flu last night, which that is a gamer. Thatcher Demko, man, I really hope he stays healthy. And obviously he's going through the flu, but in hockey, they don't care whether you have the flu or you have a broken toe. You're playing. Your ass is on the lineup. Can't say the same for basketball and soccer. Football and baseball, I have a little more leniency because it's really important you have everything like healthy, but that's hockey right there. That's a hockey player. So 4-on-4 hockey. 8 minutes to go here in the third. We're going to be closing up shop here in the next couple minutes. So, guys, make sure to like and subscribe here to the video. Make sure to like the stream. The Panthers look like they're going to score here. I can just tell. Minnesota's kind of watching the puck a little bit. I mean, Florida is on the power play. Let's see. Oh, man, they're getting some chances. The Panthers look like they're going to score. Let's see. Are they going to be able to put it in? Kachuk was close. I don't even want to know. I don't know what that was. That was scary. All right. So that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back probably Saturday. I'm going to do a Saturday morning live stream. So if you guys are interested, stay tuned for that. Saturday morning, I will be coming back to you guys. I'll give you guys a time and things like that. It's probably going to be early Saturday because, like I said, I am going to the Islanders home opener Saturday night. So we'll see what we can do. As always, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys again next time. Peace out, guys.